Good evening, Messiah. I'm Dani Johnson, and I'd like to welcome you to a very special episode of YBTV. Tonight, we'll be hosting a town hall with Messiah's interim president, Jon Stuckey. Jon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking me to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming here tonight. I mean, we obviously covered the town hall with SGA. That was kind of more of like an on-point thing, and we do have some questions that you do know that we asked you a little bit about.
Sure.
So I guess we'll just go into it. But what drew you to step into the role of interim president?
So I love Messiah. I love our unique mission within the Christian higher education space. I love how we have a broad array of Christian believers, but yet not all agreeing on everything, but how we try to emphasize that we can come together around what we do share in those core beliefs, but also differ, but have good conversation, and not focus on what divides us, but more of what brings us together as followers of Christ.
So remind me, what was your position before you took interim president?
So right before, so it might be easier, so I've been here for 25 years.
Oh, wow.
So when I first came in the year 2000, I don't even want to think about how long ago that was in terms of
I
your
wasn't
life.
born
Yes,
yet.
all right, just lay that out there, that's all right. I came to help them start a grants office. Before Messiah was at Case Western Reserve University, which is a school in Cleveland, Ohio. And I worked in the medical school as a sociologist, as a researcher in sociology. But I had to write grants to fund my research. And Messiah was starting a grants program, and that's how I got recruited to come here then. So I initially started in grants, and then from there became the director of development, which is the person responsible for the fundraising activities of the school. And so I did that for several years, and then most recently I was the vice president for advancement, which is responsible for fundraising, so development, alumni and parent relations, and then marketing and communications.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I did right before stepping into the interim role in July.
Oh, wow. Were there any difficulties or challenges transitioning into interim president?
I had worked closely with Kim Phipps, the previous president, for so long, and she and I were meeting already regularly because as the vice president for advancement, she was my supervisor.
Oh, okay.
So we were already meeting each week or every other week. But when it became apparent, and then when I was named as interim, we had a longer agenda. But we were she well prepared me to step into the role in July. And it obviously helps that I was here for so long.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that you guys worked hand in hand, even with the position that you were in prior to that. I mean, that obviously plays a role probably in how you kind of just take on the role as interim president. So what is your type of leadership and philosophy as far as being interim president?
We had something called Community Day on August 19th, which is the week before students arrive. Mm-hmm. And it's a chance for the president to essentially open the calendar year for staff, so educators, faculty, and all administrators and staff. And in that, I had the privilege of sort of outlining the year ahead. And so I talked about seeing gracious Christianity anew. And we talk a lot about gracious Christianity here at Messiah, but basically it's love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so I was thinking about themes for the coming year, pinning those themes, pillars to that theme of gracious Christianity. It was the courage of our convictions with kindness, innovation with purpose, and then leading by following Jesus. So for me, leadership really is to be reflective of what Christ has called us to do, which is love of God with all your heart, strength, soul, mind, and love of neighbor as yourself. And so I try to lead that way in terms of caring for others, but also caring deeply for students and caring deeply about Messiah.
That's awesome. So you kind of mentioned a little bit, but Messiah emphasizes sustainability, service, and stewardship. How do these values align with your leadership style?
So all different aspects in some ways of similar values, but for me, the service piece, my college professor, when I was thinking about, my initial major was gerontology, so the study of the elderly. That's how I ended up at Case Western Reserve in sociology, sociology of aging. But she said you cannot learn about something if you don't serve in that area. So I started serving for the Alzheimer's Association in Canton, Ohio, back, if you thought 2000 was a while ago, it was a long time ago. It was when I was in college. But that really then led me on to a career of service through nonprofit organizations. So the National Alzheimer's Association, the local chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, the local 10,000 villages. Currently, I'm on the board of Messiah Lifeways, which is just up the road on 15. It's a continuing care retirement community just up the road. So service has been a part of what I have valued really since I was a college student. The stewardship piece, for me, I know sustainability and stewardship can sometimes be seen together as we steward the land and sustainability and how we care for our land. But in my role as a fundraiser, the stewardship piece also is how we thank people. And Messiah thanks people well, particularly people who have contributed financially to Messiah. So that is very much a part of what I enjoy so much about my job, is when I get to thank folks for investing in our students. And then the sustainability piece is just so important, and whether it's our solar panel or our community garden or how we try to limit our waste in Lottie, or even how I try not to, I'm very much a digital person. I like not printing. So just all of those things together really knit well together for me in how I view Messiah's special place and special mission.
So you had mentioned about nonprofits, and you said Messiah Lifeways. They're a nonprofit, correct?
They are.
So, and what is your part in that as being part of the nonprofit?
So I'm on their board, the board of directors of Messiah Lifeways.
So what does that kind of look like?
So it means that I help provide guidance on decisions they're making, strategic decisions. I contribute to Messiah Lifeways. It's an obligation of a good board member that you also contribute. And I am available. I lead their governance committee, so help them identify potential new board members. So it's really just an important, a board plays a very important role in the life of a nonprofit. And I'm privileged to do it because that was what I thought I was going to do as a vocation, was to be in this space of Alzheimer's care and gerontology. And then I ended up here. And I'm glad I made that choice.
That's awesome. I didn't realize how, like, obviously your story and how it came out to be. It definitely sounds like you're still part of that gerontology kind of thing. Like, you're still kind of using that major, per se, in a way to help nonprofits.
I enjoy that very much.
That's awesome. And I feel like we've gotten a pretty good sense of you as a leader. So let's talk about, like, how that kind of reflects you as a person. So what are some of your top priorities during your time here?
Students, always a priority. And I'm so grateful that I work at an institution that values students. And we want this to be not only a wonderful place for you each to learn what God is calling on your heart, but also that you have the resources and the facilities that you need to exceed and to thrive. Another priority for me, also mentioned at my community day presentation, is so this is this interim, right? So I'm not president, I'm interim president. So what does that mean? Well, in this period of transition, I felt it was a perfect time to reinforce our mission and identity statements. So Messiah's identity statements, or what makes us a category of one within the Christian college world, is this sense that we are a Christian college of the applied, liberal and applied arts and sciences. We have our root in the Anabaptist, Pietist, and Wesleyan faith of the Brethren in Christ Church, but we have what we call an embracing evangelical spirit. So we seek to be welcoming of all Christian faith. And then our mission statement, to educate men and women toward maturity of intellect, character, and Christian faith for lives of service, leadership, and reconciliation. So this whole sense of who we are as an institution was reimagined and revised 30 years ago, literally 30 years ago this month. So when our Board of Trustees was just here last week, 2 weeks ago, we were able to have a conversation with them. Provost Christy Gardner and I co-led an initial conversation, which was then, it was an educational session led by some of our our wonderful educators here at Messiah on how our mission and identity statements came to be and how important it was to reaffirm them. So it was our mission and identity statements are not so much an anchor, but they're a ballast. So they keep us on course, they keep us steady, they keep us moving in a clear direction. So my goal was to have the board affirm those, and it was very meaningful. On Friday morning of board meeting, not only did they affirm it, but rather than a voice vote, they all stood, which was a lovely affirmation of who Messiah is, positioning us well in this interim phase to reaffirm who we are. And then now the next priority for me is to determine what are some strategic goals that we can set out forth in this interim phase so that when we move forward, we'll be ready to move forward with confidence.
Are there any areas of campus life or just res life in general that there are some issues that you would like to address?
Part of what we need to do is redo both our strategic plan and our master plan. So our strategic plan was developed during COVID. So it's now 5 years in, and we worked to prepare an annual plan that is based on the themes of the University Rising, which is the name of the strategic plan we passed in 2020. But it's time to identify what you're talking about. What areas of campus do we need to focus on? And a strategic plan is more of a short-term, 3 to 5 year, and then the master plan is what would Messiah need over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So we're not sure because we're just finishing a strategic plan, and the last master plan is about 20 years old. So what we're going to do in the coming months, weeks and months, is to have those conversations on campus. Where do we need to strengthen? What resource needs do we have? And what will be the next areas of emphasis? Because right now, we're concluding the previous plans, including our athletics facilities, the Kim Phipps Admissions and Welcome Center, the Falcon Fitness Center. All of those things were on the previous master plan. Now it's time to think about what's next.
And they definitely have come along really well. I know that from us at YBTV have actually covered a lot of that, like especially the construction of the new athletic fields and like the just the building to be able to have bathrooms and the concessions.
Sawyer Pavilion.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is insane how that has come in such short time as well. So it's kind of nice to hear that that was part of the master plan.
It was part of the master plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, is there any specific information or something that you're excited to learn from Messiah students now that you're interim president?
It's not so much that it's new for me, but it's always my favorite story, or favorite question. What led you to Messiah? So when I was teaching, back when I came in 2000, I taught a course. So I had more direct student interaction. And I enjoyed very much teaching a Becoming You session this year and last year, co-leading that with our Vice President for Diversity Affairs, Todd Allen. But the question I like with students most is, what led you to Messiah? How are we doing? So what led you here? Have we come through with that promise? And then third, where do you think God is leading you? How can we best prepare you for that? Now, the third question sometimes is a little vague yet, and that's okay. I mean, at 22, I took actually a gap year. So after I finished my undergrad year, I took a year to figure out what to do before I entered grad school and then finished my master's and PhD, but not before thinking and praying a lot about what to do next. So all three questions aren't always answered, but I love asking those questions and hearing how our students ended up at Messiah.
That's awesome. So kind of going off the lines of like all of that master plans and stuff, how do you kind of include students' input and their advice into the decision making? So
when we launch the strategic planning process, there will be direct opportunity for students to provide input. In the meantime, I always offer this, and someday maybe I'll get overwhelmed, but so far not yet. I am happy to meet with any student one-on-one. I've had some wonderful conversations this semester, just one-on-one. It's my favorite opportunity to meet with students is when I can just have this kind of conversation. So thank you, Dani. I enjoy this very
of
much.
course. It's our pleasure to have you, honestly. Like, these questions, they may be like some may be generic, like how did you come here, like what is your job? But I truly feel like these are some questions that maybe students want to know and they are too afraid to ask. So it's always good to have. And we actually did have Provost Gardner on last year for our town hall.
Oh, wonderful.
And so that it's just like we're trying to figure out those answers, but in different ways, because obviously your title and your job is different than hers. So, but it's also different now that we don't technically have a president. I mean, you're still the president, but you know what I mean? Like.
Well, I'll tell you this little bit, Dani, and I'm very grateful for this. When the president or when the board asked me to step into the interim, I said I will do this, but I'd like a clarification on that. I asked them, I want to be president of the interim, not interim president, meaning during this interim period, I feel I need to be able to lead Messiah as I feel God is leading me to do that, but also as our leadership team feels what needs to be done. And the board's been very affirming, and I'm very appreciative of that. So
my last question kind of here for just a little bit is, how do you plan to collaborate with faculty and staff to ensure growth and development?
So similarly to with students, those are ongoing conversations we'll have with faculty, with our community of educators, with our provost cabinet, our president's cabinet, leadership throughout campus of faculty, educators, and also staff about what they feel are important areas that we need to expand for Messiah, strengthen Messiah, and other things that we could do that I wouldn't be able to know just talking with myself or just talking with a smaller group. We do want to expand those conversations, and I look forward to having those in the months and weeks ahead.
So just an odd end question, but do you know most of the faculty and educators here on campus?
You know, I've been here 25 years, so I know a lot of people, but there's been a lot of turnover over 25 years, as you can imagine. So I am very blessed with as many people as I know, but I'm always surprised as many as I don't know. So I'm also grateful. Sherry, my wife and I were able to host the new educator picnic at Orchard Hill, so I got to meet all the new educators, and I very much appreciate any opportunity to meet our educators here at Messiah and all of our staff.
Yeah, we all are blessed. I feel like that's kind of what makes Messiah such a prominent decision for a lot of us, is when we come onto campus and meet our professors or we meet the staff that we're going to be working hand in hand with. It really kind of sets the tone for us students, especially. It makes a difference as to why we chose Messiah rather than other colleges. And there's a type of just way that the professors lead us, not just spiritually but educationally. I feel like we all kind of just have grown so much, and it's something I can't even explain. So
can you tell me quickly, how did you end up at Messiah?
Yes, I can. So I actually only applied to Messiah. I knew I wanted to stay in PA. My family lives in Lebanon.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go to a private university. I transferred from a public school to a private Christian school in 7th grade. So I knew, and that's kind of how I was led to the board. So I wanted to stay in that Christian atmosphere. I applied my sophomore year of high school because it had the degree I wanted. And actually, I came right before COVID started and visited by myself because my dad was at work and my mom has a lot of kids. I'm one of 10 kids. So
Dani, that's amazing.
And so I came and I visited, and as soon as I stepped on campus, I knew that this is where I needed to be and this is where God was calling me to be. And so by my junior year, I was accepted into Messiah, and I never applied anywhere else because I knew this is where I wanted to be.
That is fantastic.
But it's the people around here that make it such a great community to be around.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, those were some terrific answers, and it's been great getting to talk with you, President Stuckey. But now we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at what's going on around campus, along with this week's edition of YBTV Sports. All this and more after the break.
My name is Arkel Brown. I am a senior communication major here at Messiah. Within our community, honestly, it's like one big family. Everyone relies on each other to get certain projects done. You know you can depend on other people within the communications department. Throughout the years, my skill set has completely involved. I was actually able to do color commentating for the men's basketball last season, so it was pretty fun. I take pride in these extracurricular programs. I am the student assistant basketball coach for the women's basketball team. This year is my 4th year working with them. They've really become another family here for me on campus, and it just made me adapt so easily. And basketball is something I've always loved, so it was natural. The interactions between professors and students here are amazing, honestly. I couldn't ask for any better interactions with my professors. They're so caring, they're so loving, they're generous, and they're always open to anything you have to say or any questions that you have. They really want to be there for you. My Christian faith is everywhere in the classes, whether it's being through prayer before classes or having devotion. It's always tied in with our Christian faith. Like, we have to be honest, we have to know we have to keep God first in every situation and know that without God, we wouldn't even have the opportunity to be where we are. It definitely keeps us grounded. And I think Messiah has taught me so much about myself within the communication department, as how I relate to people, how people relate to me. We understand each other's differences. And I think I'll be ready for the real world once I graduate.
Thanks, Dani, and welcome back to this week's edition of YBTV Sports. We're fresh off of a fall break, but also fresh off of a series of wins from our fall athletics teams.
That's right, Libby. We saw a lot of good moments from our fall teams. And with that being said, let's get into the highlights of this past week with this special edition of the Falcon 4. Starting off with women's soccer, on Tuesday night, the Messiah women's soccer team took on the Golden Wolves of Alvernia on Shoemaker Field. The Falcons saw themselves in the early part of the first half taking on a stingy Alvernia defense, which sat back and was committed to defending. Fortunately, the Falcons broke some pressure and Hannah Adair had a look on goal. Let's take a look here. We see the ball, Talia Lloyd at midfield, slips in Adair with a Dutch turn, as we like to say in soccer. Slots it right to the bottom right corner. We'll take another look at that here. Again, Hannah Adair, nice spin move, a Dutch turn as we like to call it, and into the bottom right corner of the goal. Adair would pick up one more goal in the second half as senior Lydia Ring capitalized on a chance as well in the first. Sophomore Addie Martin would round out the scoring column in the 68th minute, putting the Falcons up by 4. Over the break, Messiah would improve to a record of 15-2 and will be back in action tomorrow at York.
Looking ahead at the start of winter sports already, we have 2 highlights in one, as we saw hints of success for both of our basketball teams in the preseason coaches poll were announced last week. The results of the poll projected men's basketball to finish tied for 7th in the 2025 to 2026 season, and introducing a new coach as well, might I add, Jacob Flegel this season. Women's basketball also with overwhelming scores was tied to finish in 1st in the MAC Commonwealth. Both teams will compete in the first contest of the season on Friday, November 7th in their annual tip-off tournament. The men will play at 7, followed by the women at 6.
And I heard that the Messiah men's basketball team, they took a trip to the Dominican Republic and were pretty successful. So that's really encouraging. On to our next highlight. The Messiah men's soccer team took on the Mustangs of Stevenson on Saturday in Maryland. This was a must-win game, as it would put the Falcons at the top of the MAC Commonwealth standings. The Falcons played very well in the first half by controlling the tempo and imposing their will on the Mustangs, which led to a goal-scoring opportunity. Let's take a look. Ball, Sam Phillips taking down the left wing across. Kyle Spodnik just slots his foot right out there. Right-footed volley into the net. The Falcons go up 1-0 with 15 minutes remaining. Take another look. Spodnik goes up, finishes it. It's more of a finesse goal rather than a power goal, as he would be the only goal scorer of the game, and the Falcons would hold on to beat a tough Stevenson team by a score of 1-0. The Falcons have 2 regular season games left as they head to York tomorrow evening and are at home against Hood on Saturday to wrap up the regular season. After a busy weekend for Falcon athletics, not all the news surrounding Messiah sports is about scores and stats.
That's right, Ethan. The university has confirmed an ongoing investigation into reported hazing with the men's lacrosse program. The reports involve an incident that allegedly took place off campus in mid-September of this year. In a statement provided by the university spokesperson Carla Gross, Messiah says it takes all reports of interpersonal harm, including hazing, very seriously. While these allegations would qualify as hazing under the university policy, officials say that reporters do not include violence and law enforcement is not involved at this time. The university has launched an internal investigation in collaboration with the athletics department leadership. During the process, the men's lacrosse program has been placed on interim suspension, halting all formal team activities, including practices, scrimmages, and team lifting. Messiah emphasizes that this suspension is not a disciplinary sanction, but a precautionary step to promote safety and prevent retaliation while investigation continues. Because of federal student privacy laws, the university says it cannot share details about individual students or the ongoing investigation. In the statement, Messiah reiterated that hazing is prohibited under both Pennsylvania law and the university's code of conduct, calling it inconsistent with schools' Christian values of dignity, mutual respect, and accountability. The university says it remains committed to maintaining a safe, Christ-centered community where all students, including athletes, are valued and supported.
Again, Messiah University confirms that this is an active internal investigation. No further comment is expected until the process is complete. However, we will be sure to update you here on YBTV Sports as information is released.
That's right, and that's all for sports, so let's toss it over to Gabriella to see what events are going on around campus this week. Gabriella?
Good evening, Messiah. My name is Gabriela Rios, and this is your weekly campus calendar. This semester is coming to an end soon, and I hope everybody is surviving their classes before finals creep up. But don't worry, here are some events to look forward to this week, and make sure to check your emails for more. On Tuesday at 7 to 9 p.m., the Camp Club is hosting their own celebration of Halloween by carving pumpkins and putting Elfin toothpaste inside for a fun chemical reaction. So come by Jordan in room Dreve 7-4 to see what spooky cool fun they have in store. But if you want a challenge with the good word of God instead, then head down to the Hosetter basement at 8 to 9:30 for a scripture burn with the student ministries where they read Mark in one full go. Join them in viewing Mark in a new narrative and have fun. On Wednesday, the Career Expo is coming to Brubaker Auditorium at 11 to 2:30 p.m. Come over and network with over 100 employers for each and every major, but be sure to dress in business casual or professional dress. And don't forget to bring copies of your resume. That is necessary. And later on at 6 to 8, Minds Matter is hosting a cozy evening dedicated to community and breaking down the stigma against and around mental health. They will be serving fall-inspired treats, and a hot chocolate bar will be available to whoever comes by. So go, please. On Thursday, SAB is hosting a listening party for popular pop albums in the Jordan and Klein Lounge from 8 to 10 p.m. So come bond with fellow pop fans and enjoy your night. SAB is also hosting Fall Fest at 4 to 10 p.m. on the Larson Student Union and patio. There will be fun line dancing, fall foods, and time to catch up with your friends. Good luck and have fun this weekend. That's all for tonight. I'm Gabriela Rios, and it's back to the sports desk.
Thank you very much, Gabriella. Those sound like some fun events, especially the chemistry club. Maybe blowing up some pumpkins or
I know, sounds like an interesting
smoke
activity
all over the place. Who knows? Hopefully none of them get rained out. Speaking of which, let's check in with our very own Josiah Rodriguez to see what the weather is going to look like on this week's edition of the Falcon Forecast. Josiah.
Good evening, Messiah. I am Josiah Rodriguez, delivering today's Falcon Forecast. Right now we are looking at a 44 degrees, a little low. We had a high today at 53 and a low of a very freezing 31. Precipitation was at 0% and humidity was at 68%. Now, moving right along. Tuesday, 6 a.m., 34 degrees. Watch out. Be sure to put on some heavy layers. 9 a.m., 40 degrees. We're going to have some sun coming out. 12 p.m., 53. A lot more sun. 3 p.m., hottest it'll be today. Well, on Tuesday at least. 57 with some sun and clouds. 6 p.m., same situation, but at a 52. And 9 p.m. it's going to be nice and dark with a low of 45. Moving right along ahead, we got the surface map coming along. Now, in regards to the surface map, there's two things we got to keep in mind. One thing's first is this guy. This guy, yeah, this guy right here. See, this is some low pressure that it's gonna circle around, and that's nothing to worry about. But when it comes to this big guy right here, right there, right here, yes, that guy. That guy, it's a lot of high pressure storms. And that guy, you see, when he comes in, it's going to cause a lot, and I mean a lot of rain on Thursday. So if you have any Halloween festivities planned out, be sure to make sure you don't get soaked. Moving along right ahead with the temperature map, we're going to have a 53 in Harrisburg, so that's something to keep in mind. Nothing too bad, but, you know, could be better. Couldn't be any worse, you know what I'm saying. Moving along ahead to the forecast. We're going to have, dew points. Dew points are next. You see, Monday, 35. Tuesday, 36, just a little bump. 41 on Wednesday, a high 51 on Thursday. I'm telling you, the rain is going to be immense on Thursday. Be sure to look out for that. Friday, we're going to go down to a nice 43. So nothing to worry about regarding that. In regards to the 7-day forecast, Tuesday, high 56, low of 34. And it's going to be nice and sunny. You know, it's going to be a nice sunny time. Then with Wednesday, it's going to be rainy. 55, 38. Then with Thursday, like I said, lots and lots of rain. And high of 64, low of 48. Friday, that's going to be all nice and cloudy, no more rain just for a minute, with a high of 55, a low of 46. Saturday, we're going to have a 57, you know, as our high, and a 43 as our low. And thankfully, it's going to be a little bit more rain, unfortunately. Sunday, more rain, 54 as our high, 40 as our low. And then Monday, sun, clouds with a high of 51 and a low of 37. I'm Josiah Rodriguez delivering this week's Falcon forecast. Back to you guys.
What a great look at sports, Josiah. That's all for us. We're going to go into a quick break, but stay tuned. When we come back, we'll hear from President Jon Stuckey and play a little game of Two Truths and a Lie. All that and more right here on YBTV.
Sounds like fun.
The new athletic training curriculum at Messiah College is a 5-year accelerated program that results in completion of a bachelor's in applied health science with a concentration in pre-athletic training and a master's of science in athletic training.
When I was introduced to the athletic training program at Messiah, I knew right away that it was going to be the right fit for me. There was just so much support and so much interest in me as an individual, and that community was really something special.
I think a student should be interested in studying this program, particularly at Messiah, largely because of the people that we have. Students are going to formally participate in case studies and case reviews, and there's also opportunities for collaboration with the faculty.
My friendship with the program director, Dr. Matt Lewis, has supported my journey as a Christian, as an athletic trainer, and as a scientist.
We are passionate about our students, and we're also passionate about the profession of athletic training.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Dani Johnson, joined once again by our distinguished guest and interim president, Jon Stuckey. Now, we've talked a lot about policy, but we'd like to play a fun game of Two Truths and a Lie. Jon, you can go first.
All right. So I was a student in the very first class Kim Phipps ever taught. very first class. I am sitting in a room where my daughters were in daycare, right behind me here. And my wife and I met on a blind date. And after we got back from the date, she told her friends, he's a loser. No one should ever marry him.
Oh, this is hard. Wait, so the second one you said was about your kids being in daycare in this room?
Here.
When was this?
Well, I don't have to tell you that, do I?
No, I can I just get an age? Like, are
Yeah.
kids my age? Like,
This would have been when we first got here, or
Oh, okay.
first arrived.
oh, so 25 years ago. I don't know anything about that. What was the first one again?
I was a student in the first class Kim Phipps ever taught
Okay,
as
so
a
it's
college
the
professor.
third one's the lie.
That my wife said I was a loser?
Yes.
You are correct.
Really? So what did she say?
Oh, I'm not sure what she told her friends, but we're still together. We met a while ago. We met a while ago.
Oh,
Wasn't a blind date. I was sitting behind her in class.
I was just going to ask you, was it a blind date?
No, it was not. I was sitting behind her in class, in
In
music
Messiah?
class at Malone College. So I
okay,
went to
okay.
Malone, which is a similar school to Messiah, but it's in Canton, Ohio. This is where Kim Phipps started teaching. So I was a student in the first class she ever taught. But right before I met Kim, I guess, Sherry was in the same class, and she was a music major at the time. And I got in the wrong class. I was supposed to get in a gen ed music class, and somehow I got in the music class for majors. I had no idea what I was doing. So I asked her to tutor me and help me with my homework. And instead we went to Friendlies.
Aww.
And that was a while ago. There's not even I don't know if Friendlies exists anymore, but back then there was
Friendlies?
Friendlies. Yeah.
Yes, it still does.
Does it? All right, because I
Yeah.
know they closed the one in Camp Hill, so I don't know if
I actually just had Friendly's ice cream Tuesday.
That's
no, oh my
amazing.
gosh, not Tuesday. It was Sunday.
all right.
So yesterday, I don't
Good.
even know what day it is. But yeah,
Good.
I did. I had Friendly's ice cream, but they do. So where I'm from in Lebanon, they actually still have a Friendly's open.
That's good to know.
And they still have their really good sliders.
They do.
They
It's
do.
very good food and very good ice cream.
But
Yes.
but they have closed a lot of them. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they don't do any more anytime soon.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, what are yours?
Okay. I'm the youngest of 10 kids. I was adopted. And I am Emmy nominated.
I think I know you're Emmy nominated. So I think you're not the youngest of those 10 kids.
You're right.
Uh,
Okay, so guess where's the lineup? Where do I land?
Boy, you exert traits of an oldest, so I'm thinking you're higher in the chain.
Okay. What's your guess?
Oh, I have to give you an actual number? 7 of the 10. So like 3 older than you and the rest younger than you.
I'm the second oldest.
Oh, it's off.
Yeah, so you're
by
close. You're
one.
close. No, you were close. So 8 of us 10
Okay.
were adopted. And so the oldest one is bio, and then I was adopted, and then the one below me who's 21, or no, she's 20. Oh my goodness, I'm like
I know.
making her older.
It goes fast.
She is biological, and then the youngest actually just turned 1. Yeah.
So your
So-
parents are amazing.
So
That
I
is
could not be the youngest.
amazing.
But I am a first generation college student, and neither of my parents went. So it has been definitely a transition. That was actually part of the reason I chose to stay in PA for college. So.
Okay,
And obviously, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. So.
that's a great story.
I
that's
seriously can't
wonderful.
believe you got that, though. Because anywhere in the 10 kids, I could have been the youngest. But it's funny that you chose that. Well, anyways, I asked President Stuckey to bring a few items from his office to
yes.
share with us. And while he does that, I'm going to ask you just a few questions here, obviously, so that you can get set up.
Yep.
So I kind of know a little bit of your background, but where are you from?
So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and raised in Canton, Ohio, which is where Malone is. So my dad was a college professor at Malone, and so that's how I ended up in Canton, because my dad got a job there. But so Ohio. So we were going to have Ohio State Penn State watch party this Saturday, But unfortunately, we can't do that because my daughter, who just had our first grandchild, which we will talk about, is in the hospital. She's going to be okay, but we have to sort of manage being parents right now and grandparents and having jobs. So we're working on all three, but it'll be all right. But we just can't have the Penn State, Ohio State party, but we are obnoxious Ohio State fans. we really are.
I, for some reason, I could totally see that. I mean,
Wait, that I'm obnoxious?
no, the Ohio State. No,
I
there's
gotcha.
not that that's a bad thing. I just feel like there's definitely the fans. You can definitely tell because they're very lively, not obnoxious, lively. I've never met a fan. If you're a true fan, you're obnoxious, right? Like,
We're not totally obnoxious.
no, but you should be. You're cheering for your team,
No.
right?
True.
And my next question before we have you show your first item is, how did you end up working in higher education? You did talk about that a little bit, but what was that first step that you kind of took to move towards that?
So I am really fortunate, Dani. So I'm a third generation college graduate. So my grandmother was on faculty at a school. She taught music. My other grandmother went to Bible college. My grandfather became a registrar. And then my parents, so my mother went to Wheaton in Chicago, and my dad is a graduate of Bluffton College. And so there has literally never been a time in my life when Christian education wasn't a part of it. Mm-hmm. So when I went to Malone and learned about this thing called gerontology, which I didn't even know was a thing, I started thinking that would be what I would do, is to work in the field of aging as a researcher. But then, and I was at Case Western Reserve for 13 years. Case Western Reserve was a wonderful school, but it wasn't a faith-based school. It wasn't a Christian school. Mm-hmm. And I literally grew up on Malone's campus because my dad got his job as a faculty member at Malone when I was 5. So Malone was just such a big part of my life, and I was drawn to that. And so when we interviewed here, I'd known Kim in Ohio, and so when she became academic dean here, that's when they worked to convince my wife and I to uproot from Ohio and come here. And it didn't take long. It really didn't. I mean, it took long to make the final decision, but when we, not unlike you, when we got here and stepped on campus and met Rodney Sawatsky was the president at the time, and Lorna Sawatsky, and hearing Rod's vision for Messiah, and seeing that this is this difficult but important place of bringing Christian believers together, but who aren't all the same, and who can hold passionately held beliefs based in Scripture, but that are different. And that as we create an educational climate here that help all of our students, no matter what their vocation, to reflect the life of Christ and to love of Christ in whatever vocation they're choosing, that's a special place. And there's a lot of special places, but no one is doing it as well as Messiah. So that's why we're here and why we've stayed here for 25 years. Now, my wife teaches high school at Hershey High School, the public high school, but she's been a big part of my love for Messiah. And our oldest daughter is a grad. She met her husband here, so we have a daughter and son-in-law who are grads, and then our other daughter went to our alma mater, Malone, and graduated from Malone.
That's awesome. And praise the Lord that you're here. I mean, I don't think anyone can imagine not having you here, especially as interim president, but also just in the Messiah community, as you make such an impact on it as well.
Thank you, Dani. It's
So,
a privilege.
Would you like to show me your first
Yes.
item that we had you
Okay.
bring?
So
I'm
I cheated
excited.
a little bit because the task was what's in my office. So the grandbaby, we're going to start with her. She's so new that she's not in my office, but my phone is in my office. So technically this was true. So this is my wife holding our first grandbaby. Her name is Emma Opal.
Oh.
And that's Sherry and Emma. Do I need to move this to the camera?
Oh
Can
my-
you see that? So who's
Yes,
gonna
can you
which
show it
one?
right
Camera
over here?
2? Can
Right
you
over
zoom
here,
in on
this
that?
one. This one.
This one.
Yes.
Camera 1. So anyway, Emma is all of 4 pounds, 15 ounces. She is very tiny,
Oh my
but
goodness.
no NICU. She's a hardy soul.
Oh.
So she is quite something.
Is this your first
It's
grandchild?
our first grandchild. Our first.
How do you
she's
feel?
Perfect. I feel very blessed and very fortunate.
So have you met her, I'm assuming?
Yes. Oh, yes. I was there this morning. I drove back
Aw.
specifically for this because I
Well,
needed to be
thank
here.
you.
Absolutely.
Oh
But
my
I'm
goodness.
literally at 8:02. I'm heading back down to Virginia.
Oh my goodness. Well,
'Cause-
we won't keep you
No,
till
that's
that
all right.
time. No.
I left my wife down there. She has to teach, so we're coming back tomorrow, and then we'll go back on the weekend. But it's been amazing.
Oh.
It's been amazing.
But she's doing okay.
She is doing okay. Our daughter has had a little trouble. It's partly why we're going back, but she's going to be all right.
That's awesome. I'm
She's
so
gonna be
happy
alright.
to hear. She's very cute.
So that is Emma Opal and Sherry. So and that's my wife Sherry, who I say the Lord has given me life, but Sherry helps me breathe, which is very true. All
You
right.
should make that into like a poet or something.
So these are created right over here. So there's the craft room, because this was a daycare when we moved here. So our younger daughter, Blakey, who is now 27, came home from daycare with this purple rock because she knew purple was my favorite color. So she said, Daddy, I want you to put this in your office. So it's been in my office ever since. About a week later, her sister, who's now the mom, who's now 30, she said, what's that? I said, well, Blakey painted me a rock. Huh. The next day, this showed up in my desk because it was glittered and it had been signed. So basically,
Do you mind if I see it?
older sister said, this is a boring rock. I can do better. So that reminds me that until Emma Opal, those two girls were a huge joy of my life.
This
so they're
is
still
so cute.
in my office.
You keep them there all the
Oh,
time?
absolutely. They've been there for 24 years.
I love that. That is so, it's like a piece of your heart is still in your office.
Absolutely.
Those are cute. I didn't paint rocks at daycare. I wish I would have. Because I feel like my parents would keep that at their
Well,
desk.
you have to. How can I mean, they have to, they will always be there. There's Taylor's, yeah, she wrote her name too.
Oh,
So anyway,
that's impressive.
completely one up to her younger sister.
Just a little bit. The glitter did
The
it.
glitter. This, where am I? So here, this is the lyrics of my favorite Bruce Springsteen song. And this hangs on my wall. So I am a big fan of Bruce Springsteen because of his lyrics. He has these lovely lyrics. And in this song is my favorite lyric that is, God have mercy on the man who doubts what he's sure of. So when God has given you direction, God has given you a peace about something, just lean into that peace. Don't start doubting. Now, doubt's natural, and I get it, but when I'm concerned or thinking about something, it does come to mind. God have mercy on the man who doubts what he's sure of.
Are you willing to sing your song for us?
I will not do that to you.
I figured I'd ask. It's worth a shot.
It's not going to happen.
That's awesome. So when I asked you to bring some items, what was obviously the intent? It's your first time being grandpa, having grandchild. Obviously the rocks. How did you decide between the 3 items to choose? Like, was there any close thirds that were going to come
yeah,
in?
right. So there is another picture of, well, there's a picture just of my wife. There's a picture of our other daughter. And so you haven't seen pictures of my children. And my poor son-in-law, he goes, where am I in the list? I'm like, well, dude, come on. You've got Emma. You're basically in the picture.
You didn't paint me a rock.
You didn't paint me a rock. That's a better line than what I said. But there was another picture of Sherry with a donor. So that was a close fourth because her name is Celia Laskaridis. She came to Messiah in 1953, sight unseen from Greece. And she found Messiah to be so welcoming that when she just died last year at age 92, she left a significant portion of her estate to help students here at Messiah who are majoring in education. So that's what I love about the story of Messiah, is this story of people who were blessed by Messiah,
Who
but
give
then
back.
who give back.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I actually have the opportunity to do that. I also received a scholarship that is from previous seniors who also were struggling financially,
Oh,
who
that's
actually put it in.
fantastic.
So then after I graduate, I'll be able to provide that back to someone for a senior that's struggling as well. And I just think that scholarship has blessed me so much to be able to stay at Messiah that I couldn't imagine someone who didn't provide that to me. So it's almost like it's not obligated to do it, but
Yeah.
it's like, as someone at Messiah who also is reaping the benefits, but also wants to provide for someone else who so graciously allowed me to stay here.
Yeah.
So you've truly been an inspiration to everybody here. So thank you so much for talking to me. It's been great having you on here.
It's been wonderful.
Do you have anything that you would like to share that I haven't asked you about before we end out?
Just so grateful to be at Messiah, grateful for all of the students God calls here, and just praying for you. And seriously, send me an email, and I'd love to have coffee.
I also heard that you have candy in your office.
I do have candy
and
in my
snacks.
office. And snacks.
So
You're welcome. Old Main 207, second floor of Old Main.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I heard that if you're running low on dining dollars, go to his office.
Absolutely. And I'll buy your lunch. Absolutely. If you're running low on dining dollars. I just bought somebody's lunch today. Happy to do it.
Oh, that is so sweet. Well, thank you again for coming on and answering
you,
all of
Dani.
our questions. I feel like we have a better sense of who you are, not just as the interim president, but as a person. So thank you so much for joining us. But that is all that we have tonight here for YBTV. I hope you have a good night, Messiah.